Shalom. I'd like to give all praise to my Heavenly Father. His name is Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Kakradash. Double honors to the apostles and elders that every well. Many salutations to Yakim that's toiling in his truth. Now, this is according to natural news. Netanyahu signals more strikes on Iran over supposedly surviving uranium stockpiles. Um, Israel wants to continue strikes on Iran to prevent them from expanding nuclear sites. Which, when you hear that word nuclear sites, you know what I'm saying, it's the whole term has been demonized by the small hatters. The nuclear plants are used for alternative power sources. You have a country like France that depends on nuclear power substantially. Iran is trying to diversify, its power sources, because Iran has a substantial amount of oil and gas reserve, and that's what they export actually to places like China. So they want to export more oil, gas, and and diversify, the usage of power by, you know, uh, expanding nuclear power. Now, the narrative of Iran trying to build a nuclear bomb has been used by this guy Netanyahu for literally 40 years. It's just talks of him saying this since like 1992, right? And so, this is a plan that this guy has, and this regime has always had to topple Iran, to put in a public regime, and also to have control over the natural resources in that region. Okay, and this is them continue on with their colonialism, man. But the Most High, you know, can very well possibly use this incident as a segue to the third war, which is World War III, spoken about in Revelation. I want to say the 10th chapter. Let me get that for you guys. See, 10th or 11th. Let me see. I believe it's the 10th or 11th chapter. You did. I believe it's 11. Yes, sir. It's 11th chapter. Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And that word woe means destruction. Right? And this war is going to be unprecedented because of the technology that's going to be utilized in this war. And the small hatters, we call this Israeli small hatters, right, are going to be a huge catalyst in bringing in World War III. And this could very well be, the events that will lead up to it. Okay, which we need war. We need this in order for war to ensue and for Yahweh Shah to come back. Okay, everything that we see happening before us is building up to Yahweh Shah's return. Although it's going to get very bumpy out here, we need these things to happen. So let's get into this article here according to Natural News. Okay, it says Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has hinted at expanding military actions against Iran's nuclear program, declaring that their enriched uranium stockpile that are the key to nuclear weapons development remain untouched despite recent U.S.-Israeli strikes. Which I listened to this one cat on YouTube, and he actually confirmed it too. That was from that region. That they do have certain programs that are actually underground. This is speaking to Fox Business this week. Netanyahu confirmed that while Iran's central figures, centrifuges, which is basically something that it's a liquid and it's something that like separates like various liquids. It's a machine that spins hella fast, right? Were destroyed in coordinated attacks last month. It's catch of near weapon grade uranium was still intact and buried under rubble at sites like Isfahan. The one thing that we didn't deal with, and we know that we didn't deal with, was the enriched uranium. He stated ominously, adding that Israel and the U.S. could strike twice and thrice if needed. The remarks signal Israel's readiness to escalate hostility even as global scrutiny intensifies over Iran's nuclear ambitions. You see that? And what does that prove, bro? What does this prove? What does this prove? What we bring out often. This proves what? Jeremiah, the 49th chapter. Okay? Jeremiah, the 49th chapter. The least of them shall draw them out. Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh that he hath taken against Edom, and his purpose that he hath proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. You see that? So the least of them shall draw them out. Right? What does that mean? Those of the less population of Esau, Edom, right? A small minority of people, the Israelis are going to induce the nation of Israel to go to war. Excuse me, the nation of Edom to go to war. And this is what we see going on now. Okay? Right now, Israel is in the forefront of war against Iran and its proxy armies, the Hamas, Houthi, um, the various characters, what I'm saying? Uh, the fighters in Yemen, okay? And it's only going to escalate, man. It's only going to cause more proxy armies and potential a bigger war. Okay, we understand this because of prophecy. All right. It says the remarks signal Israel's readiness to escalate hostility even as global scrutiny intensifies over Iran's nuclear ambitions. He told Fox News host Mark Levin that he remains convinced Iran will use nuclear weapons against them. We saw it. We said Within a year, they will have a nuclear bomb and they will use it. He stated, unlike other nuclear powers, they will actually use it and they will wipe us out. And that's what they do. These guys always playing the victim, to cause, wickedness, man. This is what this guy does. Okay. In all actuality, this is the guy. This is the villain right here, man. But he's able to pull out the H word that happened in the early 1900s. He said we could never forget what happened. Meanwhile he's bombing people indiscriminately. He's causing the G word to happen in Palestine. This dude's doing all types of stuff, man. And it shows you his character. Shows you what type of man he is, man. He's a wicked individual. These people over there, they call themselves the Israelites. They're wicked, man. Wicked individuals. Psalms 55 and verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war is in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So he's, this guy Benjamin Netanyahu, he's acts as if he's trying to prevent, Israel from being destroyed. But Israel has done all types of atrocities in that region, man. All right, I did a sit down Sunday showing how, you got the guys in Gaza, the people in Gaza trying to get aid, and you got the IDF soldiers gunning them down, bruh. Civilians, a blatant war crime, right? But that's okay though. That's fine, because he's able to control the narrative. Okay, more and more this man is starting to be seen, as a monster, and it's only going to escalate. These other nations are going to eventually come against this guy, man, for his wickedness. Okay. The hidden Iranian threat. According to Israeli intelligence, Iran's uranium stockpile enriched to 60%, edging close to weapons grade 90%, were shielded from destruction due to their underground storage depth. While U.S. officials initially claimed complete success in dismantling Iran's nuclear infrastructure, Netanyahu disclosure contradicts though those assurances, exposing fissures in the alliance's public narrative. And what does that word fissures mean? It means basically a crack, right? So basically, you have the tongues falling on themselves, right? As it says in Psalms the 64th chapter, right? The narrative is failing them, right? And with that narrative failing them, guess what? This is going to lead to more nations wanting to come up against, the small hatters, the least of the flock, and also Babylon the Great. Okay, Psalm 64 and 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune over laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? That's right. So the narrative that, this guy, Benjamin Netanyahu, has been using for the last 40 years is being exposed. It's like, dog, you've been saying this for the last 40 years, and you're the aggressor, And the other nations are seeing this, man, and they're starting to look at starting to, they've been looking, but more so being more vocal. They're starting to look at, at the state of Israel in disdain. Like, man, you guys are always the ones starting shit, man. You know? And again, this is going to lead to a bigger war. All right? Verse 6. They search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one is of them, and the heart is deep. But the most High shall shoot at them with an arrow, suddenly shall they be wounded. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. And this is going on economically speaking. You have more countries embracing um, BRICS, which you had President Donald Trump. He um, has been really addressing BRICS, and we've been speaking about BRICS for the last 10 years without an exaggeration. How that's an economic pact between these nations that's going to challenge the American dollar, and we're starting to see the repercussions of that, right? So you have, in the midst of war and an unpopular war that America's engaged in, you had the BRICS, uh, seemingly getting stronger and adding more nations. And President Donald Trump said he's going to put a 10% tariffs on these various nations, including that have recently joined BRICS, including Russia, that has been a founder of BRICS. Which Russia, that 10% tariffs are not going to do anything to Russia, but it will affect these European nations. So you could potentially see these European nations begin to side with BRICS, right? Potentially, not saying this could happen, which will be prophecy, because you know um, it's prophesied in Revelation, the 17th chapter, that you know the beast, NATO, EU, shall hate that whore, which is America. Okay, so there's a lot of things going on. All right, and a lot of cracks in you guys, in these guys' narrative. Okay, back to it. It says Netanyahu disclosure contradicts those assurances, exposing uh, uh, fissures in the Allies' public narrative. A senior Israeli official spoke anonymously to the New York Times, revealed that covering the uranium will require extensive digging, likely detectable by satellite surveillance, and prompt fresh Israeli attacks. Any attempt by Iran to recover it would almost certainly be detected. The official warned, uh, emphasizing that Israel retains the upper hand in preemptive strikes. Meanwhile, Russia has vowed to replenish Iran's nuclear resources. You see that now? Here you have Iran stepping in, and now what do we see going on? A potential Cold War, right? Well, Iran is being funded by Russia, and could Russia actually just blatantly intervene? It's very plausible. We shall see. You know, Iran is still fighting a war against Ukraine, and NATO is funding Ukraine, right? Which we know, you know, uh, America, is specifically funding that war venture. Okay, so there's almost like a neo Cold War going on, right? And eventually, it's gonna lead to a hot war, man. Okay, but this is prophecy too. So prophecy popping off the pages because we know that Russia is supposed to be is going to be a guard unto Persia, which is Iran. Okay, and read this and get this for you guys. Meanwhile, Russia has vowed to replenish Iran's nuclear resources with foreign minister Sergei Lev Live Live Rav Riv Live Riv probably saying that wrong. Pledging technological support to take the excess of overly enriched Ukrainian under Moscow's control in a move that could ignite Cold War style proxy tensions in the region. Netanyahu downplays Iran's immediate nuclear capability, insisting Tehran is too afraid to revive its program after the devastating strike. So it's all over the place. This guy's narrative is all over the place, right? He's starting to backtrack because he's starting to see, oh shoot, Russia's starting to get involved. You know what I'm saying? And let me downplay everything that's going on, right? Which this is prophecy. Ezekiel 38:1, and the Lord of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against God in the land of Magog, and the chief priests of Mount Meschek and Tubal, and prophesy against it. In that region of Gog and Magog now is the region of Russia. Okay, and say, thus said Yahweh power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief priest of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaw, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, which is modernly speaking is talking about artillery, like not necessarily horse, but you know tanks, aircrafts, what I'm saying, guns, all these things. These people they're getting ready for war. Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, which they recently were added into BRICS, in Libya, which is a region in North Africa. I'm not sure if they are part of BRICS. With them, all of them with shields and helmets, right? Gomer and all his bands, the house of uh, Tog Garma in the four quarters, in the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared and prepare thy for thyself, thou and the company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. You see that? So the Most High is gonna have it to where they're a guard unto these people. I mean, they're gonna be the forerunner in what? In war. Okay. Uh Revelation 20:8. And shall go out. Well, I started 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, right? Which is the beginning of the Renaissance era, right? When Esau Edom began to reign again. He was put down for 1,000 years during the Dark Ages, and he began to reign again, right? And set up, his culture in the world. That's what the Renaissance period was about. establishing his culture again, right? So he's been reigning for 1,000 years, deceiving the nations, right? But eventually he's going to come up against Russia, aka Gog and Magog, and be destroyed, right? Verse 8, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is of the sand of the sea. See that? So they're gonna go to battle with Gog and Magog, but they're not gonna win. All right, they're gonna be destroyed. Ultimately, they're gonna be destroyed by Yahushua. Okay, all right, and Russia, according to prophecy, is gonna be a huge player in this. All right, back to the article. It says Netanyahu downplays Iran's immediate nuclear capabilities, insisting Tehran is too afraid to revive its program after the devastating strikes. So they're trying to make themselves sound as if they're just strong and unsurmountable, which we're starting to see that that's not the case. Okay, uh, they know they felt the might of America, the might of Israel, and the combined might of Israel and America. It made an impact not only in the Middle East, it made an impact around the world. Everybody sees it. He told Fox Business, portraying the attack as a deterrent. Yet experts warn that Iran's strategic patience in its alliances with Russia and China could allow it to rebuild covertly, and that's going to be that that alliance with China is really um, not spoken about, right, or underestimated, because yeah, China is going to be a big player uh, in in helping Iran rebuild, because they do business with Iran, and also with potential war. Okay, satellite imagery of Fort Dow struck by U.S. bunker busters, showing trucks moving near the site before the attack, raises suspicions that the uranium was relocated ahead of time. While Washington denies this, Netanyahu uh, admission that Israel knows where it is buried suggests a high stakes game of nuclear hide and seek. Is a regional war brewing as Netanyahu flexes Israel's military readiness and Russia intervenes to back Iran? The threat of a wider Middle East conflict looms. With Tehran's uranium still in play and Israel vowing further action, it is not yet clear whether diplomacy or destruction would dictate the next chapter. For now, Netanyahu's message is clear. Iran's nuclear ambitions will be met with relentless force, regardless of the cost. So yes, war is brewing. War is brewing. We continue to hear wars and rumors of wars. We understand all these things that's going on must happen before the return of the Heavenly Father. Excuse me, return of His Son, Yahushua. Okay, because He told us that this was going to happen. Let me get this last one for you guys. Yahushua told us that this will happen. 24th chapter. Um, Matthew 24:6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Right? All these things have to happen before Yahushua returns. Okay? All right? So, pray this edifying. Giving all praise to my Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai, Bashim, Karkadash. Shalom.